Hi guys, this is IGCSE O-Level Chemistry, paper 22, extended MCQs, November 2022, question 11. When an acid is added to an alkali, the temperature of the reaction mixture rises. That means it is an exothermic reaction. Which words describe this reaction? Decomposition and endothermic, both are incorrect. This is a neutralization reaction, which is exothermic. Next, decomposition, no, and exothermic, yes. Neutralization, yes. Endothermic, no. Neutralization, yes. Exothermic, yes. So this makes option D the correct option for this question. Question 12. Some properties of four fuels are shown. Which fuel is a gas at room temperature and makes two products when it burns in a plentiful supply? Hydrogen is a gas, but it only produces water as the product. Methane is a gas which produces carbon dioxide and water. Octane would produce unburned hydrocarbons because it is a larger fraction, and it would produce carbon dioxide, it would produce carbon monoxide, it would produce soot, and it would produce water. So there are a lot of components that it would produce, and octane is a liquid. And the last one, wax is a solid, and it would also produce everything that octane produces. So the question asks, which is a gas? So option C and D eliminated. It is between option A and B and produces two products. That makes option B the correct option for this question. Question 13. The electrical energy or voltage of two simple cells is measured. So cell 1 is made up of zinc and magnesium, and cell 2 is made up of magnesium and copper. Okay. So which option is correct? All statements are correct. So let's look at the statement. Statement 1, the voltage of cell 1 is greater than cell 2. Well, the voltage would be greater if the reactivity of the metal has the greatest difference between them. So magnesium and zinc are relatively closer compared to magnesium and copper. So the voltage of cell 2 would be higher than the voltage of cell 1. So statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 2, zinc is more reactive than copper. No. Yes. Statement 2 is correct. Statement 2 is correct. Zinc is more reactive than copper. Magnesium is oxidized in both cells. So magnesium is more reactive than zinc, and it is more reactive than copper. So yes, magnesium is oxidized in both cells. And the last one, magnesium atom lose electrons to form magnesium ions. Yes, magnesium atom would lose electrons to form magnesium ions. Okay, so option A says all statements are correct. So this is incorrect because statement 1 is wrong. Only statements 1 and 3 are correct. 3 is correct, 1 is incorrect. Statement 2 is correct. Yes, and explain statement 1. No, statement 1 is incorrect. Statement 4 is correct. Yes, and explain statement 3. So magnesium atoms lose electrons to form magnesium ions, and magnesium is oxidized in both cells. Yes, this is also correct. Therefore, the correct option for this question is option D. Question 14. Dilute aqueous sodium chloride is electrolyzed using carbon electrodes. What is the product at the anode? Anode is the positive electrode, and it is where oxidation takes place. So we've got dilute aqueous sodium chloride. Dilute means there is more water than sodium chloride present. So at the anode, we would have production of oxygen gas. So this makes option C the correct option for this question. Question 15. The volume of gas given off in a chemical reaction is measured over time. The results are shown. At which time is the rate of reaction the greatest? The rate of reaction would be the greatest when the curve is the most steepest and increasing. So here we've got the reaction starting off at 2 seconds because that is when oxygen gas is being produced, or volume of gas. The gas is being produced. It's not oxygen, it's just a gas. So at 4 it is steeper, at 6 it is the steepest because Here you can see the curve almost a straight line. At 8, it has slowed down, and at 10, it has almost stopped. So the steepest portion of this curve is at 6 seconds, making the rate of reaction the greatest at 6 seconds. Therefore, option C is the correct option for this question. Question 16. Dinitrogen tetroxide is converted into nitrogen dioxide in a reversible reaction. The forward reaction is endothermic. Which condition would give the highest yield of nitrogen dioxide? Meaning the forward reaction would be favored. So we have two pressures, a low pressure of 2 atmospheres and a high pressure of 50 atmospheres. So the number of moles of products is greater than the number of moles of reactants. Hence, the greater the pressure, the more the backward reaction would be favored. The lesser the pressure, the more the forward reaction would be pressured. So this eliminates options C and D. And now temperature. Since it's an endothermic reaction, an increase in temperature will favor the forward reaction, eliminating option B, making option A the correct option for this question. Question 17. When magnesium is heated with zinc oxide, a reaction occurs. The equation is shown. Magnesium produces magnesium oxide and zinc metal is formed by reduction of zinc oxide. Which substance is oxidized? Magnesium is oxidized because Mg has an oxidation state of 0. It forms magnesium oxide, which has an oxidation state of +2, and there is a gain of oxygen. So magnesium is oxidized. None of the other options contain magnesium. This makes option A the correct option for this question. Question 18. X and Y are oxides of two different elements. X reacts with water, produce aqueous solution Z. Okay. Z turns universal indicator paper blue. That means Z is a basic solution. So X should be a metal because it will produce a hydroxide. An aqueous solution of Y reacts with sodium carbonate to produce carbon dioxide and carbon dioxide gas. So Y should be acidic in nature. Okay, which statement is correct? X and Y both are both the oxides of metal? No. If Y is an acid, it should be an oxide of a non-metal. If it is an oxide. Okay. So yes, it is an oxide because the question has stated X and Y are oxides. So it should be that of a non-metal. For example, carbon dioxide or sulfur dioxide or something like that. Oxides of nitrogen. So option A is incorrect. Option B, X and Y are both oxides of non-metals. No, X should be an oxide of a metal because it is basic in nature. X is the oxide of a metal and Y is the oxide of a non-metal. Yes, X could be Na2O and Y could be SO2. And X is the oxide of a non-metal. No, and Y is an oxide of a metal. This is the exact opposite of what should be. So this makes option C the correct option for this question. Question 19. Ethanoic acid reacts with water to produce an acidic solution. Which row describes the roles of ethanoic acid and water in this reaction? Ethanoic acid is a proton donor. It donates H positive ions. So accepts proton, no. Accepts electron, no. Donates proton, yes. Donates electron, no. Okay, water. Water is a proton acceptor because ethanoic acid being acid will release the H positive ion and water will be acting as a base and accept the H positive ion. So this would make option C the correct option for this question. Question 20. Copper 2 sulfate is a soluble salt. Calcium sulfate is an insoluble salt. Which row shows suitable reactants for preparing a pure sample of the named salt? Okay, for calcium sulfate, because it is an insoluble salt, the reactants are calcium carbonate and dilute sulfuric acid. Okay, so this is not correct because in order to prepare an insoluble salt, we need to react a soluble salt with the sulfuric acid. So calcium carbonate would be incorrect. Again, option B has calcium sulfate, so we would have aqueous calcium chloride, which is a soluble salt, reacting with aqueous sodium sulfate, which is also soluble, and this would create calcium sulfate, which is insoluble. So this seems correct. Next, copper sulfate. Copper reacting with dilute sulfuric acid. Copper will not react with dilute sulfuric acid because copper is less reactive than hydrogen. And last one, copper to sulfate. Aqueous copper to chloride reacting with aqueous sodium sulfate. All three salts are soluble. This is not how this reaction occurs. So the correct option for this question is option B.